Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning.
I love summers. One of the reasons I love summers is because camps come up and Corey goes away and I get free. So, that's a good thing, I think. And so, get out your bulletin. We are going to do a little doodling today. I do want you to do the drawing with me. So get you something that you can write with. And let me ask you, while I'm back here hiding behind everything here, let me ask you real quick. Have you ever had anything stolen?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, you noticed on that outline there, we're talking about burglar proof. Well, I remember when we were in Fort Worth, when I was going to seminary, Corey told a funny story about early in his life, about the house that they had, so I'll tell one about us. I was going to seminary at the time, and we had an old, ugly, green, beat up, rusted out, barely run, 62 Chevy, okay? And Joanne, one afternoon, decided to take the kids to a matinee, to a movie, to see it was a Disney film, I think, that she took them to. And when she came out, guess what? The car wasn't there.
Oh man.
And you think about it, if you've ever had something stolen like that, how helpless you feel, and you have to wonder why the people would bother with that. It had to be kids who were just out on the joyride. In fact, the gas gauge didn't work on it. And of course, being a seminary student, there wasn't a whole lot of gas in it, because we didn't have money for that. So, and basically they drove it until it ran out of gas. The police found it sitting in the middle of a road because they had run out of gas. So, and it cost us more money to get it out of the impound than what the car was worth. But we did, and if you've experienced having something stolen, you know what I'm talking about. When we think about our lives as young children, when we get to the age where we can speak the word mine, from that point on, we basically do everything we can to keep the things that we believe are ours, and so we grow a little older and we do things like we have security bars and we have deadbolt locks and we have alarm systems and we have GPS tracking things. But the problem with today's world, of course, is that someone doesn't even have to be living in the same country you're in order to steal from you, the way the internet works. And so what do? We come up with longer, more exaggerated passwords that we have to change every couple months. And we get companies like LifeLock in order to have security, right? As people, we want somehow to be able to have the things that are important to me that can't be taken away from me. Even as Christians, John, in the book of 2 John, little bitty book, one chapter, book of 2 John, verse 8. John gives us a warning, talking to Christians. He says, watch out that you do not lose what you worked for. Okay, and I think I printed that for you on the outline along with the last part of that verse, because John is not talking about losing our salvation. He is talking about losing rewards. He's talking about losing things like my peace of mind and my joy and those things. If you aren't careful, even as a Christian, those things can be taken from you. So what I want to talk about today is how we can build a life where we won't lose out on those kinds of things, where it's burden-free, where it can't be stolen from it. And so as I think about John's warning in 2 John, okay, I'm going to go to a story that's kind of at the other end of the Bible, in the book of Judges. Okay? And we're going to look at a story in the book of Judges that's about things being stolen from us. So if you have your Bible, I would appreciate it if you would turn to Judges, the 17th chapter. And y'all going to clap for me this time, y'all clap for me next time. Then we did that. And I hope you have your Bible with you, because I printed, there is an insert in your handout where basically the entire chapter of Judges 17 is printed. The problem is the story's going to go on into chapter 18, and then I'm going to use a couple of other verses as well, so I don't have everything printed for you. So I hope you've got your Bible with you. It's always great to bring this with you so that you can underline and mark and those kinds of things in it. It's very helpful, at least it is to me. We're looking in the 17th chapter of Judges about a man by the name of Micah. Okay? Micah is a Jew, an Israelite, from the tribe of Ephraim during the time of the Judges, which means it's at the time when the Israelites are settling their new country, the Promised Land. They're settling it. Remember, Moses brought them out of Egypt. They wandered in the desert for 40 years. They went into the Promised Land. Joshua conquered much of the land, but there were still lots of people who had to drive out. And then they allotted different tribes, different sections. Okay? And so Micah is living in that time. They've allotted the tribe of Ephraim a certain section, and Micah is busy building his new home, his new ranch, up in the hill country, his farm, and he's building this. Okay? Now it's interesting when we first meet Micah in this story about things being stolen, that he has a problem, or his mother actually has a problem. What you would see if you read that is that his mother has 1,100 shekels of silver. That's about 28 pounds. I looked at that. That's about 28 pounds of solid silver that she has that has disappeared. And she assumes it's been stolen. Okay? And so she gets all upset and she's ranting and raving, and Micah comes along and says, "Mom, cool it. Nobody stole your silver. I've got it." You know? And so we're going to pick up the story there in verse 4 of what takes place. He says, "So he returned the silver to his mother, and she took 200 shekels of silver and gave them to a silversmith, who made them into an image and the idol. And they were put in Micah's house. Now this man Micah had a shrine. He had made an ephod and some idols, and installed one of his sons as his priest." Now, I don't want us to get too wrapped up in this idea of an idol. That would be a whole other sermon than what I want to go on to today. Okay? But basically what happens is, Micah's mom's all upset about her silver being missing. She gets it back, finds out it wasn't stolen at all. She's so grateful and so excited that she wants to make an offering. You know, you've been there, we've done that, where we recover something and we have something, and so she wants to make an offering to God. So she takes 200 shekels of that 1,100, and she sends it to a silversmith, who makes it into an idol for them that they put in Micah's house. She thinks she's doing something to please God. That's what she's doing it for. Okay? And you notice Micah, when it talks about Micah, it says that he's built a shrine. Basically, Micah knows that the worship is very important, and he's out here building his ranch out here in the middle of the country, and you know, nearest neighbors, kind of like Texas, some places in Texas where your nearest neighbor's way down the road. You know, and worship's going to be important. So, you know, I think of this, you know, in terms of a Texas type thing. You've got the ranch house here, and he's got the barn over there, and guess what? He builds a little church over here. Okay? And so he's got a place for he and his family and his servants to worship. Okay? And that's how important he thinks worship is. And not only does he take the time and the trouble and spend the money to build the church building, but he also furnishes it. Notice it says that he makes some of the worship items, the idols that he puts in there. And he makes an ephod, that's the priestly garments. He makes that for the priest. And so he's taken the time and trouble to build the church and to furnish it well and to get it ready to go. Okay? And so as he's done this, he thinks he's doing something really good. He knows that he needs to worship God. He knows that he's going to need God's help in this new home if he's going to be, and he wants God's blessing if he's going to be successful. And he's basically doing the best he can. He even installs one of his sons to be the priest. Basically, he says, son, you're in charge of our worship. I want you all to make sure that once a week we get together and that we do things right. Okay? And I know that he's doing this because he thinks it's the right thing to do. I know that because of the next verse. Look at verse 6. Verse 6 is a key verse in this entire book. It's a key verse in this story. And it's key to this entire verse, because to this entire book, because notice what it says. It says, in those days, Israel had no king. Everyone did as he saw fit. It basically says, Israel has no king. That means they have no governing authority. There's nobody around telling you this is what you have to do or this is what you can't do. And so everybody decides, I'm going to do what I think is right and what I think is good. And we already see that Micah thinks that worship is important. And so they're doing what they think will please God. They're doing this for God, even though what they're doing may not be the best thing. We do that sometimes. We sometimes ignore what God says is sin, and we live our lives the way we think is best. We pride ourselves in this country on our freedom. When we talk about our freedom, and especially in religion, but even in our churches, we'll ignore what God calls sin. Say, oh, he really didn't mean that. He can't be upset at me for that. And so we'll basically pay our 200 shekels of silver and think, God's got to be pleased with me now. That's what was going on. Okay? And as we continue the story, we notice verse 7 says, a young Levite from Bethlehem in Judah, who had been living with the clan of Judah, left that town in search of some place to stay. On his way, he came to Micah's house in the hill country of Ephraim. So you have this young Levite. Now, as soon as you see the word Levite, you ought to think, okay, a preacher. This young priest is who he is. He's from the tribe of Levi, which is the tribe of the priests. And he's been living in Bethlehem, where there's a bunch of preachers. And he decides, I want to leave here, I want to go find, and basically what this preacher boy is looking for is a church to serve him. I want to be a priest, I want to be a place where I can help people. His heart's in the right place, right? He's looking for a place to serve. And he's a priest of God. Somebody who ought to know exactly what it's going to take. And he comes to Micah's house. Well, I'm not going to read a whole lot more of it, but as you go on, you realize Micah starts visiting with him. He finds out who he is and where he's from. And Micah offers him the job. He says, I'll pay you a wage, a yearly wage of 10 shekels of silver a year, and I'll give you your clothes, and I'll give you your food, and come and be my priest. Take care, and I've got the church already built. Everything's set up for you. And so this young priest takes the job. And as I look at the last verse of chapter 17, verse 13, it says, and Micah said, now I know that the Lord will be good to me, since this Levite has become my priest. In other words, Micah is doing these things to try to please God, and he thinks, gee, everything's working out great. It's all coming together. got my priest now, I know God's going to bless me. He's got it all kind of put together, right? And so I want us to think about the good things that Micah has done. And let's doodle a little bit as we do that, okay? So let me see here. We want to, Micah, one of the first things Micah's done is he's built himself a church, right? So let's see if we can't do a real quick little doodle of the church. Because he built himself a nice church home. He put a nice big round window up there at the top. We're going to have a steeple in this thing up. We'll have a steeple just run off the top of the page up there. Okay? And we'll put a door, window, this kind of thing down there, just the indication of the door and the window there. And so we've got us a church building, because one thing Mike has done, he's built the church. He's furnished the church. He's hired the pastor. He's done all those things were important, and so he's done some good things. So I wonder, what could possibly go wrong? So in your outline there, the first thing, here where it says, what can go wrong? Looks like everything's going fine. Well, the story continues. You don't have verse 18 there. Like I say, I hope you've got your Bible, chapter 18. But the first verse starts off exactly the same way as verse 6 did. Basically the same thing. It says, in those days, Israel had no king. And it starts telling a story about the tribe of Dan. Okay? Remember, Micah's from the tribe of Ephraim. And they've got their little plot of land and they're settling it. The tribe of Dan has been assigned a piece of land that is actually right next to where Ephraim is. Okay? But they have a problem. The area they've been assigned is still inhabited by people, a lot of people. They're fairly strong. They've got some strong cities. And the tribe of Dan kind of says, you know, it's going to be tough to drive these guys out. That's going to be kind of hard. So let's look around the promised land and see if we can find a better place, an easier place to go. And guess what? There is no king in Israel, so they can do what they want, right? Well, if there was a king, if there was a government, they said, no, you got to be right here. But there isn't a king. So what they do is they pick 5 guys, they have 5 spies, and they send out these 5 spies to go out and search the land and see if you can find a good place for us to call our own and call our home. Alright? So these 5 spies start north, and as they start north, they come to Micah's house. And they plan to spend the night camped out there by Micah's house, and they happen to recognize this young priest. They've met him before, and they know who he is. And so they go and they talk to him, and they have a good time visiting, and he gives them the grand tour. Yeah? And they see the church, and they see all the idols, and all the furnishings, and all the stuff that Micah has put in his church for worship. And they have, you know, a good visit, and then they get through with that, and that next morning they get up, and the 5 spies go on. They go on north. They get all the way up to the northern edge, basically, of the promised land. They find a rural area with not very many people, a nice area to build in, and they say, this is where we want to go. And so the 5 spies go back down to the tribe of Dan. They tell them, we found the place we want to move to. And they gather up their whole plan, along with their 600 warriors, their army of 600 that they have from the tribe of Dan, and they start marching north to their part of the promised land that they're going to claim. Not what they were assigned, but what they're going to claim and where they end up in the nation of Israel. Okay? So they start north. And they come to Micah's house. And these 5 spies start talking to the leaders and say, you know what? When we came by here before, this guy has his own church, well furnished, he's got idols in there, he's got all kinds of stuff. And you know, when we get where we're going to need some items of worship. We're going to need some things for our church, for our worship. And he's already got it right there. So, the 600 men stand guard around the house. The 5 spies go in. The 5 guys that were there before, they know where everything is. They had the grand tour, right? They go in and they start loading up the stuff that Micah's put there. And they're going to take off with it. Well, the young priest comes walking in, catches them. Says, what are you guys doing? You can't steal all of our stuff. And let me read out of chapter 18, verse 19. They answered him. He said, be quiet. Don't say a word. Come with us and be our father and priest. Isn't it better that you serve a tribe and a clan in Israel as priests rather than just one man's household? The priest was glad. He, the priest, took the ephod and the other household gods and the carved images and went along with the people. He said, hey, I'm getting a promotion. I'm going from the little country church to the big brick church in the county seat. Yeah? Instead of being just the little church pastor, I'm now the pastor of the whole tribe of Dan. So he's excited about it. Micah, finally, when Micah realizes his stuff's all gone, he finds the priest is gone and his stuff in the church is gone. He calls his neighbors together and they go chasing after the guys who stole it. But he doesn't have that many neighbors. And he catches up with them. And basically, Micah, when he starts calling out to them, and why did you steal my stuff? Micah says, look, you took the gods I made and my priest, and you went away. What else do I have left? Micah has gone from, I know God's going to bless me, to, I got nothing left. Wonder how that happened. What could go wrong? The tribe of Dan, turn around and answer him. Basically, they say, don't argue with us. If you argue with us, some of us may turn around and we'll kill you. You keep fussing at us, we'll just turn around and kill you. And so Micah, knowing that his little band of neighbors isn't nearly as strong as the whole tribe of Dan, basically turns around and goes home. So what can go wrong? Well, a couple of things that I see that went wrong here in Micah's story. First thing I'm going to say is that there was a lack of attention. Micah didn't really give the attention. And you say, well, Brother Gerald, how do you come up with that? Micah's the one that built the church. Micah's the one that furnished it. He put a lot of effort into that. He gave it a lot of attention. But if you look at the 18th chapter, from verse 1 of chapter 18 until verse 22 of chapter 18, Micah's not even in the story. In other words, when the 5 spies came and visited Micah's house, they didn't even meet Micah, it doesn't sound like. They didn't talk to Micah, they talked to the priest. Micah wasn't out there at the church. Micah wasn't worshiping in the church. Micah wasn't doing what he should have been doing. Because he'd already taken care of all that, right? That's the way we think. We think, okay, I've done my duty. I've done my work. I don't have to be involved in church. I don't have to be doing anything. Let me tell you, sometimes we neglect. We don't pay attention. We don't get involved. Well, I go to church every once in a while. That's all I need to do, isn't it? I've already paid my dues. I've already done mine. I know I've got my salvation, so I shouldn't have to worry about the joy, those things can be stolen from you, just like it was from Michael. Lack of attention was the first thing that I see. The second thing was misplaced trust. What was Micah trusting? Certainly wasn't his relationship to God. What Micah was trusting was his church building and his furnishings and his priests and all of those physical things. And so he's put his trust in the worldly things. Boy, it's so easy for things to go wrong, for things to be stolen from me, for things to be taken away from me, simply because my trust is in the wrong thing. Because I'm looking at the wrong place. Lack of attention, misplaced trust. So tell me, I now know what can go wrong, so what can I do about it? What can I do? Jesus told a story in Luke the 18th chapter. A story we call the rich young ruler. About a man who, like Micah, knew worship was important, knew this kind of thing was important, and wanted to have God's blessing. And he came to Jesus and he said, you know what? I know I've done stuff. I've worked hard at it. But I know something's still missing. I know I haven't gotten it all there. And a very sincere young man. And he comes and says, Jesus, what am I still lacking? And Jesus told him to give everything he owned to the poor. Come follow him. And at that it says that the man turned and walked away because he had a lot. Now, what's interesting in this situation, I think, is how the disciples reacted to that. Because they couldn't believe, here's a guy who really cares, who really wants to do something, who really wants to be involved with God, and yet he can't make it. He can't get there. Peter, in verse 28 of Luke 18, and let me read this for you, has something, Peter often says things that aren't real good, but Peter says something really good here. Peter said to him, we have left all we had to follow you. Peter, and this is kind of like a question. Peter's basically looking at Jesus and saying, Jesus, if that guy can't do enough to get in, I've given up everything for you to follow you. But is it enough? And Jesus answers him. He says, I tell you the truth, Jesus said to them, no one who's left home or wife or brothers or parents or children for the sake of the kingdom of God will fail to receive many times as much in this age and in the age to come eternal life. You can't earn it. You can't buy it. You can't build enough to get there. You can't do enough to get there. You can't give enough to get there. But what you can do is just give up. Quit trying to be good enough. Because you're not. Just give up what you have and who you are to God. Give it to Jesus. Amen. And he promises you that you can't give as much as he's going to. He promises you that no matter what you give up, you're going to get many times more than that. You're going to get it in this life and in the next life. Oh, you know how to keep from getting stuff stolen from you? Give it to Jesus. Amen. Because if it's his, it can't get stolen from you. And he's going to give you a whole lot more. Okay? And so What can I do? I can give up. And the second thing I can do is I can look up. You see, Micah had a problem with his building, with what he did. Micah's problem is he's looking at it wrong. He's actually got it upside down. Because because what actually needs to happen is that I need to look at it. He had it upside down. You see, he thought that it was about what he could do for God. The truth is, having a life that's burglar-proof isn't about what I can do. It's about what God's already done. In Matthew 6, it tells us, "Do not store up for yourselves treasures on earth, where moth and rust destroy, and where thieves break in and steal. But store up for yourselves treasures in heaven, where moth and rust do not destroy, and where thieves do not break in and steal. For where your treasure is, your heart will be also." It's about what God's already done. So the question becomes real simple. Will you build your life on things that can be taken away from you? Or will you come to the foot of the cross and look up and put your faith and trust in Jesus? Give yourself to Him and build a treasure in heaven. Let's pray. Lord, we just come to you right now, knowing how easy it is for us to misplace our trust in the things that we can do. Help us to have the faith, put our trust in you. Help us to know that you are our only hope and our only salvation. And with your heads bowed and your eyes closed, this morning, you may be here and you may know that you're a Christian. This isn't a question of whether or not you've accepted Jesus. You may know that you're saved. And yet at the same time, you feel like you're vulnerable. Like you're trying to do enough to get God to love you. Like you're trying to earn it. And you're putting your trust in the physical things. Right now, I would ask you just to pray. Just to come to Jesus again and say, Lord, I'm going to give it up. I'm not going to do that anymore. I'm going to give it to you. I'm going to give you just a minute and just let you pray. You may be here this morning and you might realize that you've got it upside down. That you've never come to the point in your life where you're willing to say, Jesus, I just give it all up to you. You've never come to the point of recognizing, I need a Savior. This morning, I would invite you to go to Jesus in prayer. Doesn't have to be fancy. Doesn't have to be anything that I can tell you exactly what to say. You just go to Him and say, Lord, I know I'm a sinner. I know I've done wrong, and I know I can't fix it. Jesus, please come into my heart right now. Save me from my sins. Change my life. Make me burglar-proof. I promise you, He will come in. Jesus, thank you this morning for what you've done for us. Help us to always have the joy that only you can bring. These things I pray in your name. Amen.